Welcome to our 106th day on the trail. We have 5 readings for today from Romans chapter 9 verse 19 through 11:36, Numbers 13 verses 1 through 33, the 97th Psalm, Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verses 1 through 12, and Judith chapter 10 verses 11 through 19. Today, we continue our journey with the Israelites as they break camp and make their way to the Promised Land. Now, this should have been a time of great expectations. The Israelites were supposed to enter the Promised Land directly after leaving Egypt. However, before they begin the final leg of their journey, God tells Moses to send 12 men to see the land that they will be entering. In Numbers 13, verses 1 and 2, the Lord said to Moses, "Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites. From each of their ancestral tribes you shall send a man, every one a leader among them." So what does God want them to see? Are they to witness the beauty and fruitfulness of the land which God is giving to them? Or the people that are currently living there? The key here, and one that is overlooked, is God's promise. He tells them to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving you. This is not a conditional statement. This was a gift, not something that was acquired based on their strength or power. No, God, the creator of the universe, the God who led them out of Egypt, the world's greatest superpower at the time, was giving them this land. So Moses picks 12 men, one from each tribe, and they will travel north into the land of Canaan. But look at what Moses adds to God's instructions. Beginning in verse 17. Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said to them, "Go up there into the Negev, and go up into the hill country, and see what the land is like, and whether the people who live in it are strong or weak, whether they are few or many, and whether the land they live in is good or bad, and whether the towns that they live in are unwalled or fortified, and whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are trees in it or not. Be bold, and bring some of the fruit of the land." Now it was the season for the first ripe grapes. So Moses asks for 6 comparisons. 3 were about the land. Was the land good or bad, rich or poor? Did it have trees in it or no trees? And then 3 more comparisons about the current inhabitants of the land. Were they strong or weak, few or many? Were the cities unwalled or were they fortified? Now there seems to be a bit of expansion here by Moses. What did God send them to see? Well, specifically, the land. But what does Moses add? Moses adds questions about the people who are currently living there. Questions about their strength and their military capabilities. How big were their people? And how fortified were their cities? God did not ask Moses to see how hard it might be to occupy the land. He only asked them to see how good the land was, the land that he was giving to them. God was giving them this land as a gift. But Moses is asking how much the land might cost them if they have to fight for it. Now imagine that you tell your child or a friend that you want to buy them a special gift. And he or she responds with, "Well, that's great, but what will it cost me?" You say, "No, it's a gift. I will pay the price, I will buy it, and I will wrap it." And they reply, "Well, do I have to buy batteries? Or is it rechargeable? I mean, do I have to open it? Like, what if I cut myself on the paper when I'm opening it? I mean, I could bleed to death." God is giving them this land as a gift, and they're worried about what it will cost them. Now, let's not forget where their journey started. They were slaves in Egypt, a people without power or freedom. Yet by grace, God pulls them out of the pit of slavery with 10 mighty plagues. So as our story continues, the spies travel from the land of Kadesh in the southern part of the Negev to north of Damascus. This would involve a 700-mile round-trip journey lasting 40 days. When the 12 return from spying out the land, they bring with them a sample of the produce as Moses requested, along with an excellent report about the land itself. However, they also tell Moses and the Israelites what they observed about the people of the land. Beginning in verse 28. Yet the people who live in the land are strong, and the towns are fortified and very large. And besides, we saw the descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites live in the land of the Negev, the Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live by the sea and along the Jordan. These are the answers to the first set of questions that Moses asked. But did he have to ask these questions? Not at all. If God was able to rescue them from the power of Egypt, then giving his people victory over the inhabitants of Canaan would not have been a problem. Yet Moses still asks these questions. So what do you think the people focused on? The large cluster of grapes or the large giants? When the Israelites turned their focus to the fortified cities and the strength of their enemies, they took their focus off of God. But then a voice of faith rises from the crowd. Verse 30. But Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and occupy it, for we are well able to overcome it." Then the men who had gone up with him said, "We are not able to go up against this people, for they are stronger than we." So they brought to the Israelites an unfavorable report of the land that they had spied out, saying, "The land that we have gone through as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people that we saw in it are of great size." On day 107, we will learn how the people respond to the report from the spies. But for today, we are left with questions. Why did Moses ask the spies to report on the people dwelling in Canaan instead of only reporting on what God asked for? Had the Israelites forgotten, once again, the power and faithfulness of God, the one who had freed them from the Egyptians, led them through the Red Sea, and fed them that very morning with bread from heaven? And perhaps, most importantly, do we possess the same short-term memory when it comes to the acts of God in our lives? And when the shadow of fear and doubt rises around us, will we have the courage of Caleb to stand up and demonstrate our faith in the one who has rescued us and freed us by rising from the dead? Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, stay on the trail.